We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go. We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go.
Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like it's takeout. Show me you got soul inside those new shoes. And you can rock and roll with an attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. You're the new MC, you got the remix. Keep it on repeat, just let the beat kick. Everywhere you go, you bring the roof down. Everybody knows you got your own sound. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Yeah, you like it, the way you like it. Oh, yeah, you like it, the way you like it now. Yeah, you like it, the way you like it. Oh, so good, so fresh. Get up on your feet. Show me you got soul. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Checkers and Wreckers here on a Tuesday night. Matt, what's going on? How are you doing?
Another wonderful Tuesday on my favorite podcast.
Absolutely. I'm excited. We're going to dive right into this one because, man, we got a fun one here tonight planned. Everybody, let's get him in here quick. No reason to have him wait there. We got a champion with us here. I'm excited. Jesse Love, everybody. Jesse, good evening. How's it going?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm having a pretty good day so far. Had a pretty action-packed filled day, so cool to finish it off on a podcast.
And there you go. We'll keep it relaxed. We'll keep it steady here. We're going to kind of just do a little back and forth between Matt and I and try to keep it a little casual here for a bit. So I'll get it going here right off the bat. And I was talking to DJ before, and man, was there ever any sweeter 14th place than that Phoenix finish, man? And what a finish that was for the title.
Yeah, no kidding. It was, like I said a few times in different interviews, and especially after the race, like we were plagued most of the day with, I think, just a wiring issue, a small wiring issue, but it was our first race with an Ilmor motor. We could either run the Ilmor or the K&N motor, and we had a little bit of a problem there with, I think it was just our first time having that motor, so we had some bugs to work out. So we probably maybe shouldn't have gone to the championship race with the brand new package, but we knew we needed to do something. And like I said, we had just a wiring issue where it was like cutting out or shortening out at the firewall. So I would say for the first 15 laps after a restart, mainly in the dog leg and on the backstretch too, it would just cut out, and it would kind of just feel like it was almost like it was starving for fuel, but it just obviously had no power. So we had to battle through that, and that was, a pretty big thing to battle through, especially on restarts. Everybody's bunched up. You're the dog leg, and you'll lose 3 spots a straightaway almost. So, especially with an ARCA car, how you drive it with so much momentum, it was hard to make up for it in the corners. So that was definitely difficult. But at the last, I would say, 10 laps of the race, we didn't have that issue anymore. Every now and then, but for the most part, we didn't have the issue. So I cut the dog leg every lap, and for the last 10 laps in a row, and I cut off about half a second a lap to the guy in front of me who I knew I needed to pass. It was Huddleston. His teammate was the guy I was trying for the championship in.
Yep.
And I got to him, and that's where the drama kind of broke loose. Where I don't know if he knew what lap it was or what position he was in, but I was able to get up to him, and I knew if I wasn't going to get him in 3 and 4 or 1 and 2, I was going to get him in 3 and 4 regardless, which probably would have made it for a little bit better of a show. But I was able to roll on by and win the tiebreaker because of my 2 wins. Jake didn't get any wins, so I was able to get that, and that was obviously really cool. So like I say a lot, I mean, wins mean a lot, right? So you have to get wins, you got to get pulls, and you got to do things like that. As a team, when we're before we go into a championship race last year and this year, we were thinking like, okay, like we need to make sure that we put ourselves in position that we win either the polls or the most wins or something, because stuff like that happens, and you want to be clear-minded with that, and you can use that to your advantage. Or when I was running 2 spots behind him, I knew that I was still fine, which is 2 spots and 3 spots can mean a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sure did that night. Matt,
Yeah,
go
no
ahead.
kidding.
So, first off, congratulations on winning back-to-back championships. That's pretty awesome.
Thank
How does it feel, though, now that you are a 2-time champion, and not only a 2-time champion, but you are the youngest to win a championship in ARCA in any NASCAR sanctioned series? So how does that feel for you, and which championship was a little bit more meaningful for you? Was it the first one? Was it this one? I mean, I want to, from your perspective on that one.
Yeah, so I would say that to answer your second question first, I mean, I actually thought about that a good bit after the race. I think that the first one probably meant more. I was beating Sam's record, his record to become the youngest NASCAR champion, which I knew that was not going to be broken because, I mean, somebody has to be really good, really lucky with his birthday or her birthday. And because I was born on January 14th, right? So my birthday is like right before the season starts, and obviously everything else that goes into winning a championship. So Lauren Rainier told me before the season started, like, you got to win this championship, and that record probably won't be broken ever. Even though records are meant to be broken, maybe one day they will, but who knows? So, like I said, I would say the first one probably meant a little bit more just because it was obviously my first championship in a stock car, like a big body stock car. I ran late models, and I won 2 championships in that. But to win one in like a NASCAR, right? And you're at Phoenix, everything just worked out so well, and it was really cool. So that was really special, and I think that what else plays into it is just that the second time I still had the Derby and Governor's Cup after Phoenix. So in my mind, the season wasn't over yet, and I still had some work to do before I got to really celebrate and let everything set in. The year before that, when I won the championship, that was my last race of the year, and I was able just to let it all sink in and really enjoy it. So, right when I got home after that, I got on the phone with Chris Swimmer, and we started talking about Governor's Cup and the Derby. And, I did my interviews, of course, for winning the championship. But I felt like I would be doing a disservice to Chris if I let the championship overwhelm me. And had a few people tell me, you got to you can't let the highs get too high and the lows get too low. You have to kind of keep it in the middle. So that was something that I worked on throughout the year. And I wanted to go run well at the Governor's Cup and the Derby. And that was probably the reason why I wasn't letting it all sink in right away.
Yeah, now you've had some time to let that happen. And then you go and you do the Chili Bowl not too far, so you're just a couple weeks out of that. You're moving up into ARCA. Really, the only ones you're missing next season are the ones that you can't physically participate in because of your age, unfortunately. So how does that, or does it at all, the running in the Chili Bowl, the experience there now for a couple years, kind of help you moving up into the ARCA series?
It's huge, man. I mean, for me, like, I didn't run a dirt car. I went to Chili Bowl this year, but I hadn't run a dirt car since Chili Bowl last year. So I was out of a dirt car for a full year. And I knew, like, it's hard to have lofty expectations for that type of deal. And I think that looking back on it, I probably should have run a millbridge race or a micro race or a sprint car race here or there, something throughout the year to kind of, not let the rust build up, right? I feel like Chase Elliott did a good job of that. Chase Briscoe did a good job of that. Obviously, Larson does, and they kind of run enough throughout the year to be competitive when it comes to Chili Bowl, which is a lesson that I learned. So it's definitely a perishable talent. Dirt racing's hard, man. It's probably the hardest form of racing, in my opinion, and it's something that you have to do as well, though. So I wanted to go do it. It's important for me to stay up on dirt racing, and that it's a perishable talent, like I said, but it's also really important talent. So it's something that you really want to not let perish, and I think that's why Larson keeps on doing it, and I think that's why Chase started to do it. I think that's why you see guys like Travis Braden, and they want to do it, and it's kind of like monkey see, monkey do type of deal. I mean, Kyle Larson's, right now, the most decorated race car driver in the country right now. And I think that everybody wants to do what he's doing. Even Kyle Busch went and ran a micro. And I think that they see the benefits of dirt racing. And I think it's really important. So I think that's why a lot of guys are doing it. And that's why I really wanted to do it as well.
Well, you did fantastic.
Yeah, you really did. And we were actually rooting for you. It was pretty impressive on some of the runs you were having. But along those lines of all these races that you've been doing, you're coming off a championship, you're preparing for the ARCA season, running all these races in the off season. How do you have time, though, to still be a teenager? I mean, at 17, I'm still in school, I'm watching racing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and you're out here running all these races. So how do you have time to balance your normal life of being a teenager and all this racing that you're doing?
It's definitely something that I get to do still, I guess you could say. But I mean, I don't, exactly do the normal 17-year-old stuff, but I mean, that's fine, man. I have a lot of fun doing what I'm doing. And when you have a goal, I mean, that's all you're really thinking about. So even if I were to go to a friend's house or a birthday party or something like that, I'm still thinking about racing. And even when I go to Carowinds, which is in South Carolina, to go to an amusement park, I'm still thinking about racing somehow. So I still get to have a lot of fun with my friends. I find the joy in going to the go-kart track or going and working out with my friends or doing something like that, hanging around the shop. So those are my friends, and all the mechanics at the shop, all the guys, the crew chiefs, everybody. have a lot of fun hanging out with them, and I still get to have a lot of fun too. So it's cool. My family comes into town as well. I had them for Christmas, and that was really really cool to have them out here for the first time. And it was our first Christmas out in North Carolina. So it's definitely a balance. You can't get kind of overwhelmed, and that's why things like a small vacation here or there, where they go to the beach or whatever you want to do, it's important to kind of take a little bit of time away so you don't get not burnt out, but overwhelmed, and you want to keep being happy throughout the year so you can go perform well on race day. You can't go to the racetrack with a down mindset. That never works out well. So I think guys like Larson does that really well. Whether you see on his Instagram page he's at Cancun or something, or he's going dirt racing, because that's just a fun way to have a good form to have fun. Dirt racing's a ton of fun, and just go to a bunch of different places. So I think that there's a lot of ways I still have a ton of fun being a 17-year-old teenager, but I find the most fun in doing things like going to the sim or going and working out with my friends like Corey, or going to the go-kart track.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't sound like we're talking to a 17-year-old at all. I mean, the way you put yourself out here, you sound like more mature than some men my age. So I got to give a hat off to you there. But,
Thank you.
I mean, you say that you're 17. You've ran the Chili Bowl. You're a champion here in a NASCAR series. What's the I'm not going to say the goal, but what is the big race you want to run? Is it the 24 hours, the Daytona eventually? Is it another Chili Bowl? Is it the Daytona 500? What's your big race?
I think just the biggest race that I could be involved in is probably just whatever the championship race is for the Cup Series, and being in a position to win the championship. So I think that's the biggest thing. That's the end goal, is to be a Cup Series champion, and obviously everybody wants to win the Daytona 500, but especially just winning a Cup championship, like that's the thing. And Chili Bowl is huge, and I want to win that one day, and I want to win a lot of different things, right? So at the end of the day, being a Cup champion is my biggest goal and aspiration, and it's something that I believe I can do. So got a lot of great partners, and I feel like hopefully it's back at Homestead by the time I'm back to I get to Cup racing eventually. But I just want to go to whatever racetrack it's at, whether it be Phoenix still or Martinsville or Homestead, and I want to go not just go there, but go there and be in a position to win the championship.
Absolutely.
So when you were going over about how when you're trying to be a teen, you're involved in still being a part of racing and wanting to think about racing and all that stuff. So my question for you is, obviously your social media PR guy, Dustin's a friend of the show, and he just ran the 24 hours of Daytona for iRacing. So do you and him have a competition between the two of you on who's a better iRacer over when you guys are not
you see
at
the
track?
rig right behind him here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually in Dustin's room right now, and there's his rig right there. He was on iRacing the other night, and I watched a little bit of him racing, but I don't really race with him a whole lot. I think that when I'm on the sim, it's just like really doing work. And I had my own sim when I was back home in California, but I didn't bring it out here. When I'm on the sim, when I was on the sim in California, I was more just having fun, whether it be with guys like Dason Pursley or whoever it would be. But when I'm on the sim at we have sims at TPC, which is Toyota Performance Center, and we have little iRacing rigs there. And we got iPower PCs everywhere, and they work really really well. And I'm more using that just to for like in a work sense, right? But
Right.
And then you have the actual TRD simulator, which is here in North Carolina, and that's your real job, right? When you're working with your crew and working on your baseline for when you go to the racetrack.
Absolutely there. Matt,
I
you got
still come in every now and then, and I show Dustin how to drive that thing.
See, that's the answer I was looking for the entire time, was that one right there.
That right there is what every roommate you got to do. A good roommate's got to do that, right?
It's about like once every few weeks you'll start getting cocky. I'm feeling really good on iRacing right now. I'm like, all right, let me get on that thing.
Probably a lot different than the rig you got at TDR there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's awesome. Matt, you got anything else? I don't want to tie him up for too long here tonight. I can't thank you enough for coming on here, Jesse.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
Yeah, so I got one more question for you. I'm going to make it a little bit fun. It's,
Yeah.
everything's serious about racing and stuff, but when you're at the track, what is your go-to music before the race, and what is your go-to meal before the race to get you, ready to go?
It's something that I actually take pretty seriously. We have really great opportunities, myself and my teammates, to go perform on a big stage and represent guys like Mobile One, Toyota, Crescent Tools, and all these guys, JBL. So I take kind of everything at the racetrack pretty seriously. Even my music, I kind of I used to listen to strictly music. Now I listen to more kind of just meditation stuff and sounds, I guess you could say. But I'll still listen to some music, and my go-to qualifying song, at least how it was a few months ago, was Fade to Black by Metallica. That was kind of my go-to. And Mother by Danzig, I listened to that one a lot. And I've been getting into a little bit more music lately, but those two were like my two qualifying songs.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, good choices, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and another great opportunity that TRD gives me is a nutritionist plan, and so I kind of stick my nutrition plan. It's not as cool as say Metallica, but whether it just be some carbs or some protein, whatever I need to eat on that day, depending on the racetrack, depending on what I'm doing. But I mean, my favorite thing to eat probably before I race is I gotta think about that, but I really love when the team caters Panera to the racetrack. I think that stuff's really good, especially when I order the right thing. Because sometimes I'll look at my teammates and we'll see what they order. I'm like, I should order that. But when I order the right thing, Panera bread hits pretty good on race day.
That's awesome. We do have one fan question here. He says,
Yeah.
with you having to miss those races like we talked about in the ARCA series, are you eligible for Rookie of the Year, or are they gonna wait until you get a quote unquote full season in?
So for some reason, Ty Gibbs and Corey Heim were a rookie last year. So basically, how the whole rule deal works out is the rookie deal works out is that you have to run a full season, I'm pretty sure, until you're a rookie. So I'll be a rookie even the following year in 23. So no, I'll still be a rookie, and I think that's how it worked with Ty and with Corey. So I kind of got that question cleared up last year, but we can still go for some championships with the Sioux Chief Showdown Championship. I think it's like a 12 race series in the series, so it excludes the Kansases, the Michigans, Daytona, Talladegas, the big tracks that I can't run. So, but we can also run for a car owners championship as well with me and Corey behind the wheel. We'll go and try to get that 20 car for Billy Venturini and get him a championship car owners wise.
If anything, I think that gives you an advantage coming back the next year. You've ran a lot of those tracks, and then you're saying, all right, I'm getting the Rookie of the Year this year. It's my year. So I think that's a good thing for you.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Well, Matt, you got anything else?
Other than thanks for joining us, Jesse. This was actually kind of fun. We'll be rooting for you, that's for sure. You got some fans in us over here.
Absolutely,
so
yes.
Can't wait to see what you do for this year.
Awesome, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and I'm sure I'll be on again at a later date. So
well, that's awesome
thanks
to hear.
Everybody for listening.
Hopefully, when you come through the ARCA series here in Indy down in Brownsburg, I'll be able to make it out there and put a face with the name here.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Take care. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, guys.
What a joy that was here. Let's get everything going now. We'll get you back in action here. My goodness. That was a blast. And like I said, you don't look at it. There you are. It doesn't even look. I do apologize about that. It didn't seem like we were talking to a 17-year-old there at all. I mean, man, the way he conducts himself, the way he talks, I like I said, I thought he could have been a 30-year-old. I mean, that he's going places. I really think he's going places.
I mean, even some of the answers he gave to some of those questions, it was just like, what's it like being a teenager, or how do you balance being a teenager and being a race car driver? And it's 100% all about racing. Like, that's pretty cool. I mean, you hear people talk about it, and you see on social media, like you said, Kyle Larson's on vacation here, Kyle Busch and his wife are on vacation there, and Jesse's on vacation thinking about, okay, well, how am I going to drive this next track that I'm going to? Which, I mean, that's awesome. And I wish him nothing but the best for this year. Can't wait to follow along. Since he'll be on Flow, shout out.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
If you have Flow, you can watch Jesse race too. Their Arca Menard series will be on there for the full season. So tune in. Can't wait to have him back on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is unfortunate that he has to miss out. But like I said, it's almost like, I'm not going to say an advantage, but I mean, you could look at it like that. I think he really goes at that Rookie of the Year the next season then. And you know he's got a good car behind him. The Toyota, I think, is developing these guys to a fantastic standard there. And, man, if you fill out that Toyota seat, you know in a couple years – somebody's going to be coming out of that seat. I know you're a fan of them, and those you got some Toyota seats opening up here in the next few years. So I really think that's a name we're going to see in the Cup Series. I really hope that he gets to that goal, like he was saying, of a Cup Series champion. And that's what's even more incredible. You ask a lot of young guys like that haven't had the chance to run Daytona, that what's your favorite or what race you really want to race? And he says, I want to be in that last race for a championship. He doesn't say the Daytona 500. He doesn't say the 24 hours of Daytona. He is so focused, it seems like. That gets me pumped. And, man, if I wasn't a fan before, I sure am now. I'm ready for some Jesse Love in the Cup Series already here.
And it's not like it's just a Toyota ride. We're talking Venturini Motorsports, which is probably one of the top teams in ARCA. And he's 17 years old. We're talking about a 17-year-old kid, and he's on one of the top teams in ARCA, that he can only go up from here through the ranks. He could be the next Ty Gibbs. He could be whoever. He seems like he's focused. He's ready. It's going to be exciting to watch him. Hey, you know what? I could see him being Rookie of the Year and champion in the same year. So,
oh yeah,
that's my vote.
It was really cool to watch that last couple of laps when he took that title. Like I said, the sweetest 14th place I'm sure he'll ever have in his life. But he was having some problems with the car, falling back a little bit. Finally got it going. But the camera crew and everything, I was talking to DJ before, the camera crew, it was turning away. They were leaving Jesse's pit crew. They were done. They thought that the title was going elsewhere. And then all of a sudden they cut the camera again to Jesse getting the championship flag handed to him in the car. So that had to be like one of the sweetest things, I'm sure, after he watches that, for everybody to like pretty much count him out. And he sends it in there. And he doesn't touch the guy. He does it very clean. But, what a fantastic pass that was to get it. And I can only – you're building off that type of momentum. You're building off that type of a finish. And what – man, you not only are you building off of that, but now you understand how important wins are, how important those tiebreaker points, how important those tiebreaker statistics they really are. So I find that so interesting, and man, like I said, what a young man to talk to.
Yeah, and what I found pretty cool though was when we were talking about which championship meant a little bit more to him, was he was very aware that first championship that he was going to be the youngest champion in a NASCAR sanctioned series. Like, the awareness that he had that, hey, you know what? If I'm going to win this championship, I'm going to be the youngest to do it, and nobody's going to probably be able to beat my record. Like how cool is that? To hear somebody say that, like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to do this, and I know it's not going to be broken because, well, good luck. That's
right.
That's the most. I'm going to use this. It's the most badass thing I've heard out of somebody who's 17, and like you said, he's 17 going on 30, and I can't wait. I'm looking forward to his future. Thanks to Dustin for getting him on here with us, and I can't wait, dude. Like, I'm so excited to see how he's going to do for here on out.
Absolutely, that's it. So humble, but yet he's confident. That's what I think you really have to be. You don't see that enough nowadays in racing there. So, man, what a joy that was. Now we move on. You asked him the question. He had the rig behind him, but man, can you imagine making that switch, going from work on one of those rigs and then coming home to a G920?
Yeah.
It'd be like, whoa, what is this here? But man, A little 24-hour of iRacing Daytona action. One of my favorite times of the year on iRacing. I absolutely love it. This year didn't work out so well. Past couple of years, I've had a fantastic run, but unfortunately, we got it into the wall, and not everybody wanted to continue. I still got out there, got my safety points for it and everything. What's going on, Rennie? How you doing here? And we got it was a rough one. We'll say that. It was a little rough, but you go out there, you have fun. You get a little camaraderie through the night. I always like running overnight. You get to hear some weird stuff when everybody's a little tired.
Yeah, so my 24-hour race, well, I didn't race because I completely did not have a chance to get my ratings up to get to C license. So I crew chief slash spotted for our job at Gear Boys, probably for a total of 3 hours. But it was fun. I mean, we were doing good. Unfortunately, we got disqualified at the end of the night or at the end of the day. We had one of our drivers didn't realize that we were going back on track after a wreck and didn't meet the minimum laps. So it happens. Yeah, a big whoopsie on that one. But it happens. But it was fun. I'm actually kind of looking forward to hopefully doing it next year. We're actually talking about doing the I guess it's the Bathurst 24.
Oh yeah. I'm already getting ready for it. It's 2 weeks away. That's it's like endurance season right now because you've got Daytona, Bathurst, Sebring, Nürburgring. It all stacks up real quick, and then it kind of goes away from the endurances and gets into the more the NASCAR, the IndyCar, those type of special events. So pretty interesting there. Another thing that we failed to put on here, but man, did you get to see any of that sprint car action last night via iRacing?
No, because I forgot it was on. Before we get into that topic, let me ask you though, because I'm curious. Because our race was actually fairly clean. How was your race? Like, did you guys get the respect that you should have been given? Because every time I watched, like they were moving out of our way. For
the most part. But I will say there's a big asterisk on this because we didn't have any LMP. So I'm telling on myself here. I'm not in a high split. Not trying to act like I am. It was all GT3s of mine. So it was very smooth. I think for the most part. People were pretty. You got your guys that are going to be aggressive your first couple of laps, and you wonder why. You really wonder why. You're like, my goodness, people, we got 24 hours, and you want to fight this out on lap 6? You want to fight? I'm letting you go. I'm that type of dude, man. It ain't happening. I'll take off 2-3 seconds a lap just to make sure that this dude behind me with a hot head and just ate his spinach like Popeye, going to send it into the bus stop because you're going to pass him. You're going to pass him a lap or two later, and he's going to be in the tires in the bus stop because he's got confident. He thinks he can sling it. He thinks he's got a good job. No, boom, there he goes into the tires. So that's you're a lot faster if you let him go and you wave bye to him as they're wrecked. That's the way I've found it.
Yeah, so I can tell you some of the conversations that we had when I was on was just absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to keep this as PG rated as I possibly can.
Oh, jeez. There's a warning, I guess, to everybody. Yeah, let's try to. Please, let's try.
It's nothing bad, but so the one time I got on, there was this person, dude, I'm not even joking. They were probably their lap times were average of 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So they'd go down the backstretch into the bus stop there, and they'd be braking out of NASCAR turn 2. So the comments that were being made were I'm not going to repeat them on air because again.
Oh, some people are brutal. Some people are brutal.
Right. So it's one of those deals. And then stupid me. So get this. So I thought I'd be smart, leave my game up on my computer. My lovely girlfriend came over. We were watching movies, whatever, and I was sitting there. I was like, "Man, I'm pretty sure."
He just straight up said he was Netflix and chilling.
So I'm sitting there. We're watching probably Netflix or whatever, and I muted Discord. I muted Discord. I'm like, oh, cool. And so I can hop on then whenever. And I keep hearing voices coming through my headset, forgetting that they were still talking through the games. So all night I heard what sounded like voices in my head, and I couldn't figure out why. So
Nice.
but it was fun. I mean, for a little bit that I was on, it was great. But I had a lot of fun for the weekend, even with that. So
I heard you in the stream because I was watching your guys' stream for a bit. I heard you came on. You're like, hey guys, I got about a half hour. It's like, get off of here. Get off of here with your half hour. What's your half hour gonna do here for us? A half hour. You said a half hour. I started chuckling. Get out of here.
it was actually, that half hour was actually pretty good. So even the second time around when I got on, so Ivan was out on track, and he was on his third stint actually, and we were talking a little bit, and he said the car was a little bit of a handful, and I was going through, because a lot of people don't know, like I wouldn't say I'm really good, but I can hold my own on the asphalt side. Even though I've embarrassed myself on your stream before.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. But I was telling him, I was like, look, I said, take a little bit of a wider entry in and a wider exit, and it should be a little bit more comfortable for you. And he was still running consistent lap times, and it was more comfortable. So a little bit that I was on was more so of a coaching there if they need me. So but it was fun. I can't wait, though. I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully doing it next year.
Getting in the car, you're saying? You got plenty of time to get that C license out. You can't use that excuse next year.
Yeah, so I guess for me to do my C license, as you can see, my partner in crime back here is not here. I had to kick him out. That's going to be the big thing, is keeping him out, because I do not want to be trying to shift and him stepping on my clutch pedal or my brake pedal when it's not supposed to be. So.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give you that. Did you get to take a look at that one clip? We'll move into the actual Daytona 24 now. Did you get to see any of that one clip of the final lap of that qualifying race that I sent?
Yeah, I got to watch a little bit. I tell you what, dude, I think this year's 24 is actually going to be probably one of the better ones.
I can't wait. I am so excited to watch this. It's unreal.
What do you think of the Ganassi lineup? Like, both their cars have legit lineups.
Oh, I'm trying. You got Marcus Ericsson, Scott Dixon. Then who's the two that are? Goodness.
Ranger
and Ranger Van de Zandt.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, that is pretty tough.
And what's great is you had Ranger on your show last year.
Yep.
And that was a great interview. Listening to him talk was awesome. That whole lineup with them, though, like, I don't know how, if, like, for anybody who, I wouldn't say bets on the 24, but, like, I don't know how you can go against picking against them for this week.
He had a heartbreaker last year. I was so pumped for, it was Kevin Magnussen and Ranger Van de Zandt were the two that were the main guys in that car. So pumped for them in that 24 hour. And I really think they had a lot of wind taken out of their sails there, because they had that cut tire. They're catching. They're coming up. They're making it happen. All of a sudden, that cut tire happens, and it just takes them out of contention. I think that was like with 15 minutes left in the race. So, I mean, that's that right there. You'll get that in the big jobs. You'll get that in those big jobs. But not what did you think? Did you see the beginning of the Roar with those 60-plus cars coming to the green flag? It's like, you talk about a absolute just thrill. I can't imagine sitting in the stands watching all of those cars come down to the line in that green flag waves, man. Wow. I think the Indy 500 is an incredible thing to see 3 wide into turn 1 every year. But I think this year, with the record number of cars in the Daytona 24 hour coming to that green flag again, like we saw at the Roar, whoo, baby, you better be watching. You better be watching, because that right there, that's better than any turn 1 in F1 I've ever seen in my life.
So I've never seen an F1 race in person. I have seen an IMSA race, though. 2008, July of Daytona, they ran like a 250-mile race the weekend of the July 4th. I guess at the time it was a Coke Zero 400 race. And let me tell you, dude, when those cars go into that turn 1 like they do, and then watching that on TV, I was like, or on, I think I watched it on my phone a little bit, but it was just like, woo, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, it gets you ready. It gets you pumped up. If there's somebody that's going to go against Ganassi, though, here this year, I mean, it's hard not to say the new Cadillac team or the new Acura team, which is Wayne Taylor Racing, switching from that Cadillac over to the Acura. So it's going to be an interesting ride there to see how they get that done. You obviously got the champion with Jimmy Johnson. You got oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess his name up. Kobayashi, I believe is.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I can't remember his first name.
Fantastic. You talk about one of the absolute fastest guys I think that I have ever seen run one of these. I mean, I think it was 2 years ago at night. The amount of time he made up overnight, and that's when it is your fastest. But man, you look like a crazed lunatic driving through here. You look like an iRacer driving through there. It's like, my goodness, dude, you ain't making friends, but I'm loving it. I am loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. You know what I'm saying?
You know, we did forget about a name for Ganassi, though, and this is what's going to make it interesting between them and Wayne Taylor Racing is Earl Bamber, the Le Mans 24 winner, is with Ganassi for this year too.
So, you look at Wayne Taylor. You got Ricky Taylor. Oh man, is it Albuquerque? Is Albuquerque in there with him? I believe he is. And then
Felipe Albuquerque or Kirk or
Alexander Rossi, who in this LMP car is a phenomenal driver. He's done some really good things. I think really that he's got a niche in that. He's fantastic when it comes to these, and I think he really thoroughly enjoys these endurance races. And I can't think of their fourth driver, but
Will Stevens.
There you go. So they're always pumping out. You got Wayne Taylor in the 24-hour, and good luck, because that right there is the Penske of IndyCar. That's the Mercedes of F1. So it's hard to bet against them, but this year it's going to be fun when it comes down to that. But there wasn't even like the announcers were saying. I think the LMP1, a lot of people, that's usually the main event. That's what everybody loves to watch, but the GT cars really put on a show, and I think that's going to be an incredible thing to watch there as well. And I wish, I'm terrible with names. I needed to write this down before, but there's a gentleman, and he's done this many years now. He's an older guy, but he does two cars. He runs for two teams. He does a GT car, and this year he's doing an LMP car. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he really works that. I was watching an interview with him. I believe David Land was giving it to him, and he was really just talking about, how do you step into the GT car and then later on in the day change your entire mindset to that LMP? And he said, it does take a few laps to really get into that state of mind, that mind frame. Because either you can really dive that LMP in. They say the LMP is one of the closest cars to a F1 car out there. So you can really dive that bad boy in there. And the GT car is a little heavier and not necessarily going to be able to brake as quick and as steady as that LMP car. So really two complete different rhythms, and I'm sure different lines throughout the track. So definitely going to be interesting to watch. That's one of the key things we'll be watching. Andretti going for a win as they took a solid GT pole there in the qualifier. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, I think a lot of eyes are going to be on that GT series.
So let me ask you this question, because we're talking a lot about obviously the Ganassi guys and then the Wayne Taylor Racing team. So if you're down to the last, we'll say 3 hours of the race, and they're both on the lead lap, who would you want behind the wheel going for the title?
If I'm Ganassi, I'm putting Ranger in there. And I think if I'm Taylor, I'm putting Taylor. It's so hard. Ricky Taylor's he's shown it. He's been there. He's done that. And Ricky's the type. We saw it happen on the qualifier. You try to stick your nose in there and he doesn't think it fits. He ain't going to let it fit. So I don't know. It's hard to take away. But you look at Albuquerque, and, man, he's a fantastic guy as well. I think Albuquerque is going to be the guy that is going to, or Albuquerque, he's going to be the guy that's going to drive more so overnight, I believe. He's going to be that overnight driver, and I think they're going to leave Taylor there. I don't think you hand it to Ross. I think that's something at the end. It needs to be one of your two main drivers. I don't think you want to hand that off to a driver that is filling in for the endurance side of things. So they'll be here for this race and a few others throughout the year.
Okay, so I'll give you the Ricky Taylor because it's hard to bet against him. What about Sebastian Bourdais, though?
That's not a bad. There's the other one I was thinking. That's not a bad one. But again, he is more solid, and he is going to be a full-time ride here. But the thing is with him, I don't think he has that. Give him a year or two, and you put Bourdais in at the end. I don't think at this point, it's like I said, it's so hard to bet against Ricky in the seat at that point come down because he's done it. He's been there. He knows that pressure. And just like last year, he was going up against Renger, and Renger had that tire cut. So I really think that I want another interview from Wayne Taylor like we got last year. Do you remember that? That was a fantastic interview at the end. He's cussing, he's slurring, he's drunker than a skunk. It was incredible.
Well, see, so we're focusing all on the one Ganassi car between Renger and Bourdais, but don't forget the other Ganassi car. We'll say that's on the lead lap. Like, you can't go wrong with Bamber either, though. The guy's got the experience. He's got the Rolex, not the Rolex 24, the Le Mans 24 under his belt as a winner of that. So you have all these possibilities of what-if scenarios that we could go through. We could have like a 2-hour-long show on these what-if scenarios. But how awesome is it that we can sit here and say we could have a 2-hour-long
and that's 7 cars, I think. That's just 7 cars that are in
Right.
that LMP class.
Right, and it's the top 7 drivers in probably the entire world.
The teams as far, because you
teams,
what
yeah.
30 to 40 some, you have 30 some drivers there, but yeah, absolutely, it's stacking up to be an absolute fantastic 24-hour. I cannot wait. I can tell you who can is my wife. My wife can wait because we had the iRacing 24 last week. We got the 24-hour this week. She's gonna be sick and tired racing by the end of these couple of weeks.
Speaking of, okay, so I sent it to you. I don't know if you looked over it, but did you see the broadcast schedule? We're getting I think I saw it was 16 hours.
Oh, I've got Motorsports TV, so I watch that whole thing.
So Peacock apparently is supposed to have flag-to-flag coverage no matter what.
Nice.
But actual TV, so for those that don't have Peacock, myself, who's going to have to get it?
It's
USA
$4.99 for a month. That's a steal. That's a steal.
Yeah, I know. I just haven't gotten that far. But if we're talking in general, though, if you're watching it on USA and NBC, I think they're the only two that are going to have it on actual TV. I think it's 16 or 18 hours of coverage, which is a lot. We have not had that kind of coverage for the 24 in probably ever. I think the most they've ever done is 15 hours.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I love being able to just tune in and watch that overnight. You get a break here, turn on the 24. Excuse me. Little time here, turn on the 24. Not tired, can't sleep, turn on the 24. It's a solid run there. Pretty much have that bad boy just playing throughout the house for the day there. Like I said, I really enjoy the endurance races. I think in the past few years I've gotten more into the IMSA style. And really you look at it, it is a very solid series, a very solid class of racing there all throughout.
Yeah. I remember the one year I tried to stay up to watch the full 24, and this was before they had the overnight stint on TV. Excuse me. And I think it was the Wheelan team had their race engineers live on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, and they were talking about the race. They couldn't show it because of the broadcast rights, but it was they're sitting there talking, and all you could hear is everybody just go wake so and so up. Oh my god, you're just so great. Some of the stuff they were just saying to each other was just oh, so that's how they keep it entertaining for 24 hours. That's
right.
Cool.
Yeah, you can hear them going in the background. I can only imagine some of the things you'd hear through the paddock there. Anything else? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that'd be a fun race just to like go down there.
I completely
camp out.
agree. I completely agree. Yeah, I would love to do that sometime. That would be a absolute blast. It's been a little chilly from what I've seen, though. It's a little cold down there this year.
Oh, because 50 degrees, they're gonna freeze so much down in Florida. 50 degrees. I will be lucky if I see 50 degrees till like
April. Yeah, exactly. Goodness. You got anything else to add tonight?
Oh man, dude, I don't know. This was a fun episode, though. I think you know what? These keep getting better and better. Like I think our show's starting to turn into like a fine wine. Like
A
the
fine
further we
wine.
go-
We're aging well here.
Yeah, yeah. The show's aging well. Man,
Don't put
like,
us up on the shelf, though. Don't put
Yeah,
us
no.
up on the shelf.
You're gonna need a few of these if you want to tolerate us. If you put us on the shelf, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
Nah, man, like, I can't thank you enough for letting me do this with you all the time. But man, I can't wait to see what we are planning for next week. We got the Rolex now. We got the Clash coming up. We got NASCAR
iRacing
actually starting. Oh
that
yeah,
dirt
the
sprint.
iRacing. Yeah, the possible championship for that. Like,
Yep.
dude. Racing season now I think is in full effect. Once the Rolex 24 rolls around, yep, my mind's off of hockey. I have hockey on back here. The Flyers suck. I can focus on racing now. Thank you very much.
There you go. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That means you, and you, especially. You guys are the best. Until the next time, Matt,